So we're moving on to chapter 24 in the Go Give or Sell More book. This chapter is called Listen. And it says here, I quote, "The real secret of great communicators is not their talk, but their empathy. Before they open their mouths, they have a clear grasp of their audience's experience." So they are listening for context when they have the conversation. They are not listening to get an opening in the conversation to pitch. It has nothing to do with pitching or selling anything. This chapter again emphasizes value. So it says here, genuine listening is rare in today's world. Because of all the technology, all the fast-paced stuff that's going on, we don't really listen to listen. We listen to speak after. And so this chapter talks about really listening to the other person. And it says here, one of the sentences are, and I quote on page 140, "Great salespeople don't listen in order to anything. They're just merely having a conversation, genuinely concerned or genuinely interested in the other person and what they have to say, not listening to find an opening." Even what is called active listening, it says here that it's meant well, but there's still some, inconsistencies in the action of active listening. And also it mentions, as I read, it says one of the powerful things about listening is that it's often the way we really get to the heart of the matter, because when people begin to talk, it's really not how they feel, at least at first, let's say the first minute or two. That's why the other person is listening and the other person speaking keeps talking, provide context and all the details that needs to be understood, and then the other person just listening. I'm just gonna go over this example here because I think it's like a real estate example, just to have an idea of what is meant by listening in this chapter. So this is the first part. So this is the not listening example. So this is the buyer. "I don't know. I think maybe the house is too far from town." The real estate person: "Actually, it's only 10 miles away, not really far at all." The buyer: "Well, we like to feel really close to where everything is." Real estate: "Not a problem. It's 25-minute ride on a bad day. Without traffic, you can make it into 15. The buyer: "I don't know. I'm not sure." Real estate person: "But you like the home itself, right?" So that's the example of the not listening part. And this is the listening example right here. If I'm going to speak as the buyer and the real estate person again. Buyer: "I don't know. I think maybe the house is too far from town." The real estate person: "How so? What are you thinking?" The buyer: "Well, we love the home, but we like to feel really close to where everything is." The real estate person: "Sounds like that's really important to you. So when you say where everything is, are there specific things you're thinking of?" I'm just going to stop there because the example goes on. So it's just like a conversation, back and forth conversation, instead of forcing information down somebody else's, space. As I go through the training and I'm practicing like role playing, it got me thinking about the script too, because we have to like follow a script. So I don't like scripts. So this is a good like overall guide to just listen and just kind of go where the conversation goes, and also keep track of where the conversation can go with the call flow, because we have a call flow. It's like a chart. So I thought this was a really good reminder about it reminds me of that movie metaphor earlier about just going to the movies, dropping my sense of reality and putting it aside and just enjoy the movie, even though I know the movie is not real. It's been written, it's rehearsed, it's full of actors. So it's kind of the same concept of listen. We just listen to really, because in most conversations, the first minute or so is pretty surface level. And then, as we engage and keep going in the conversation, we understand context and details and, emotions and all the things we need to understand. So yeah, I think we just have to listen without any agenda. I mean, of course, there is an agenda, but it's not forced, at least right away. It's kind of like, I guess, as a salesperson or future salesperson, has to be some sort of leadership involved, but not forced. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I think it makes sense to me. But that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks. Here we are at chapter 25 called Objections. So this one was also a good one. It said to, so the go-giver's approach to another person's objection is empathy. So basically like leaning into it instead of trying to force information on the other person in regard to like the benefits of your MacGuffin or service or product. And there's a saying, it goes here: we sometimes describe this as turning in the direction of the skid. I wasn't familiar with this metaphor or analogy, but it's when you drive, it's like when you drive into the snow or something like that, you drive into it. But so when the conversation hits on ice patch, turn in the direction of the skid. So you just lean into it. So let me just give you a quick example. So, other person: I don't know, this product seems pretty expensive. Me: expensive? Not at all. Really, when you consider what you're getting here, it's worth every penny and more. And hey, have you ever added up how much you spend each month on soda, snacks, and junk food? Close. Okay, so the salesperson wasn't really listening to the other person. And then in this example, they do. So you'll hear the difference. Other person: I don't know, this product seems pretty expensive. Me: so you're saying X dollars seems like a lot to invest in a MacGuffin? The other person: well, yeah. Me: certainly something to consider. If I may ask, what kind of results would you need to see to justify that kind of price? Yeah. So that was just an example of leaning into the objection. So in my mind, when someone has a concern, because that's just an objection, we lean into it like, can you elaborate on what you mean by this? And then when they say the thing, the person can be like, how do you think that may affect you if you didn't move forward with this plan that you mentioned, the goal that you wanted, whatever it is, right? And then we just keep going. So I just thought that was interesting. But objections are concerns. And so if the salesperson or, whoever's selling the thing, we can just ask, hey, so, you can ask about the impact it would have on the other person if they didn't get the support they needed or if they didn't get the results they wanted. It can go, there's so much nuance to handling objections. But in this chapter, they say basically lean into it and find out more, probe more. So that's what I got from it. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.